All right, returning to our colorization project, we have set up our photo. We have the blank white layer, which we've locked so we don't accidentally paint on it. If we try, it won't let us because it's locked. We have our black and gray layer, which we've also locked, but before we locked it, we set it on multiply mode, so it won't allow us to paint on it, but it will let colors come through from underneath. And then we have this color fills layer, which is just a blank layer. If I just show it on white, it looks like this. And this is where I'll paint colors with my paintbrush tool. I'm going to use a 100% hardness to start, 100% opacity, 100% flow, normal mode, a regular brush, but I like to use these pressure sensitive brushes here, which are pressure sensitive for size. So when I'm using a tablet, if I press lightly, it only fills in a little bit of the circle. If I push hard, it fills in the whole thing. Now, because it's on the color fills layer, when I turn on the blacks and grays on top, that color will go right behind the blacks and grays. But it's not an easy thing because that color is too dark for what I'm looking at. And an easy test of that is basically, let's say we colored everything in, we filled in all the whites. If we then take that color layer and we desaturate it, we shouldn't be able to see any difference between the color and the grays that are there. So my skin tone is already a little bit too dark, and this color is obviously too dark for the values that it's fitting behind. So we're going to learn some tricks to avoid that. The key is you could have your swatches, you could have your color mixer here, but when we mix colors by hand or we choose colors by hand through this color selector, we're basically always going to pick colors that are too bright, just too saturated, too extreme. So instead, I like to steal my colors from other photographs. So that's where my references here of lots of different photos. Some 1930s colored photos, some hand-colored photos, here's a painting of Woody Guthrie, of actors portraying Woody Guthrie in film and on stage. And I'm going to open all of those in Photoshop. And now the issue is I need to arrange them and I am going to use, let's see, the 3 up stacked. So something like this, some arrangement where I have multiples open and then I'll have my image here. So let me find my image. And now I can pull out the ones I want to use. And I'll show you how I can steal color from them. Some are always better than others. And you can zoom in. These references, the size doesn't matter, but what you want to steal from does. So I like the shirt color. I like a lot of the colors here, even though it's kind of dark. And so I'm going to sweep that into this spot so I can steal colors from it. And then here, another actor, I'm going to sweep it into this spot so I can steal colors from it. Okay. So, in truth, if that skin color, when I desaturate it, is a little bit too dark, how do I find one that's just right? Well, instead of taking that color as it is, and if I hold down Option, I can turn my paintbrush into a paint dropper, which will select the color, and then modifying it lighter, it's very hard for me to tell the difference between these different tones, right? And then painting it lighter and seeing if that works better. And then trying to desaturate it and seeing if that matches. That's still a little too dark. What I can do is simply hold down Option, I'm on my color fills layer, and start stealing colors right from these photos. from the brightest part of his skin, and I'll get a color. Until I find one that just kind of works and fits the lighting. You'll get a lot more variety this way. And this is the skin color I think I'll use. Now in isolation with all the grays around it, it might look like one thing, it looks kind of yellow. But I'm confident when I build the other colors, like the hair color, and I'm trying to find these light examples, and I can modify them a lot by making them lighter and a little bit less saturated. That they will all work pretty well. Okay, I have a 100% brush. It's nice and sharp. I am not worried about staying within the lines all that well. This first step I call the kill whitey phase. And that's because we have all this white space and we want to start filling it up with color choices. Because if we ever want something to be white, like his teeth, we actually need to choose a color for that. And it shouldn't be bright white. Especially probably not for Woody Guthrie's teeth. They should probably be slightly yellow. But every color we need to choose, even the whites. And then we can steal colors from ourselves should we need to. Now this is just the first stage. So we're using what are called chromatic grays, these very particular colors that are mostly grayed out. And we're filling it in. Now, why do I have that painting of Woody Guthrie? Because I want to get a sense of what his eye color was and what his coloring was apart from anything else. So his hair is pretty dark, his eyes look like they're brown. So I'm going to start to fill in some of those details. Again, you just stay on the brush tool, and you're looking for really light examples of the color to use. And you don't want them to be too saturated. And definitely not too dark. I can also select them in the painting layer and then modify them. I could push the midtones a lot brighter, for instance. Or put more red in the color balance. Until it's a color that kind of works better. Now it looks like he likes green shirts, so I might also steal fabrics. But when it comes to that kind of thing, I actually like to look at pictures from the era, if possible, and steal those colors. So for his shirt, nice pale suit colors like this. I'm on my paintbrush, I hold down Option, I pick a color, It's a very pale bluish gray. And I just use it to paint in these areas. If I want more of this, I can always change the screen a little bit. Give myself some more room. You'll find that setting up your workspace helps a lot with this project. So that you can move around easily. Now he has this very dark guitar with pickguard, and so I have an image like that. I just have to find it, of him with a dark guitar. There we go. It doesn't help a whole lot. It tells me the color of the sign. But I'll steal various things. So maybe from this pickguard I'll pick a color. And I'll paint that in. And I can find other photos of guitars to reference. Now even behind something that looks solid black like this guitar, when I color it, this is an opportunity where I can use something really, really saturated. And it will still come through. So finding appropriate colors can be very tricky for sure. Because they're always going to have to mix with the blacks and grays that are on top. And my favorite thing is always to be able to steal from existing sources. Now, because color came to photography so late, it's one of the most subjective parts of photography. It's the easiest thing to process, and this project shows us how, if we want to, we can replace it entirely. And the reason I don't worry too much about coloring in the lines, just getting rid of the empty white spaces, is because as you color each thing and as they get more refined, you have to kind of sharpen it as you go. So to do it well is going to take a lot of work. No doubt about it. So it's always good to pick something that you're interested in. Now what if you want to see more photos you can steal from? Well, then you can just start pulling them out and having them kind of float around. And you can reference them that way. And once you try out some different colors and you're not sure which ones work, like I have a pink here and the yellow and the